Okay, so I'm here just gonna talk about this Diana build I've been going recently. A lot of people have wanted me to do like a Diana guide in general for a while now, so I've decided I might as well do it now that I've like found this build. I've been doing it for like the past 2 weeks now, and it feels really good. I've been playing, Diana for like 3 years now, and Tank Diana specifically, for I guess about the same time because when Sunfire came out. But so I've done all the different iterations, and like while the other ones are still strong, they're just so expensive. So what this allows you to do is these two items, like Abyssal and Knight's Vow, are so cheap. You basically just power spike super fast, and you snowball basically faster than anyone else can. You're gonna be like 3 items when everyone else is 2 items. So basically, you're just up an item, and then with that, you can like snowball into the rest. And like actually, sorry. Before I talk about the build, I'm just gonna talk about in general why Tank Diana is like better than AP in my opinion. You can still play AP Diana if you feel like, but personally, after all my Diana games, I just feel like Tank Diana is just so much better. Because like let's say when you go AP, right, you have this big one-shot ult ability. The rest of your abilities, they have pretty good AP ratios, but it's never really enough to be able to fight without your ult. So the problem when you have a big damage ult and the rest of your abilities aren't really that strong, now you can never fight if you don't have your ult. Most of the time. Sometimes you can. Most of the time you can never fight without your ult. So basically, early game, mid game, you're only allowed to fight every like 90 seconds. And if you don't have ult, you just gotta say, sorry team, I can't play the game. So 1, you're restricted to only when your ult's up. And 2, you're restricted to having to hit an insane ult to have impact. You can just ult one person and one-shot them and get impact. But if you trade 1 for 1, sometimes it's not going to be worth. You're playing jungle, you can't trade 1 for 1 and then they take Baron. Also, a lot of champions have like stuff to counter your ult, whether that's Zhonya's, which every AP champ can buy. There's Zhonya's, there's Flash, which every champ has, but obviously if you're burning flashes for your ult, it's still worth. But at the same time, if you're not killing anyone with your ult in a team fight for an objective and you're just burning flashes, that's not very helpful either. And then there's also, knockbacks like Janna ult, which also these champions are super meta right now too. Janna ult, Lee Sin ult, Vayne condemn, Tristana ult. Tristana also has a dash to get out. Anyone with a dash, Lucian dash, Ahri ult. Like all these things can just literally just get out of your ult because your ult takes time to go off. So the fact that your ult is all of your damage, or at least like 60% of it, and it's super easy to counter, just makes AP Diana super hard to play, and you're only restricted to fighting when you have your ult. So going Tank Diana, it kind of shifts some of the power into the rest of your kit. Your ult is still a very strong ability, especially since you can use it for crowd control, which is honestly the best thing about it, crowd control. And you can still do a lot of damage with it if it gets off. And if people are flashing out your ult, that's actually good on Tank Diana because you're not reliant on just your ult damage. If you're burning flashes with your ult, you can still continue to fight without your ult. But on AP Diana, if they flash your ult, you're basically like out or dead, So when you go Tank Diana, especially with the Nashers, you can go this with Leandries too if you prefer that, but I'll talk about that later. So with Nashers, you can fight without your ult because most of your damage actually comes from auto attacks, especially with your passive. So when you don't have your ult, it gives you way more opportunities to fight, and you don't even rely on your ult doing damage. You just go in and perma rotate your abilities. Like your Q is a 3.8 seconds cooldown, your W is a 5.8 second cooldown. Your E you never want to really use as like a cooldown. You want to use it with your Q. So basically your Q is another, or your E is another 3.8 second cooldown. So the way you play Tank Diana, sorry, I need to talk about this later. Anyways, Tank Diana, you just get more rotations, and you actually end up doing more damage than AP, so long as the way the game's supposed to be played out. Obviously, if you hit a 5-man ult, AP Diana would do more damage. But that's not going to happen every game. This is way more consistent and gives you way more opportunities. Also, the thing about AP Diana is it's super telegraphed. You see a Diana jumping at you, you can just either CC her or one-shot her, right? But with Tank Diana, you don't just get one shot before you can go in. AP Diana, a lot of the time you jump in, you ult, and you die before your ult damage even goes off. Unless if you have Zhonya's, which is another thing. You have to Zhonya's every single time you jump in as AP Diana. And if you don't have Zhonya's, it makes the fights really hard to take. Like, you have to have Zhonya's before you fight, which is like a second item on Diana. And even as a second item, it's kind of rough. Usually you go at third. So you're just so restricted with AP Diana. Tank Diana allows you to do so much more. And that's why Tank Diana is better. So now I'm going to talk about the build. And then I'll talk about how you should play Tank Diana. and then I'll talk about like some special like things you can do. So first off, the build. I have this item set here. Basically all like components that you might need early game, so you don't have to search for them, and any items you might buy. A lot of these items I don't buy, like Iceborne Gauntlet I don't really buy, Sunfire Cape I don't really buy, but I have all the armor items that are at least relevant, just in case you might want to buy it. Because if you prefer these items, sure, go for it. All you really need is a few tank items, Nashers, Medjais, and you're good. You can go Riftmaker, which I go with this build because it's super cheap, but realistically all you need to do with tank Diana is Nashers, Medjais, and tank items, because Medjais gives you enough AP to make up for the lack of damage. I have this Rabadon's here because it's practice tool and I didn't feel like stacking my Medjais by getting a bot, so I do have a little bit more AP than normal, but there are games still where I go Rabadon's, but that's after you get the Medjais. Like you'll sell this for Rabadon's late game. So realistically I'd only have like 300, 360 AP, but that's still a lot. So we'll talk about the build. Okay, so this is the item set. I'm gonna paste the import code in the description if anyone wants to just get this imported so they don't have to like copy it. So we'll talk about the build. So first off, what I do is 3 camp for Dark Seal. You don't have to 3 camp, but it's very important you get the Dark Seal early on your first clear. It's very easy to stack on jungle. It's very important to this build, and it makes up for the lack of AP in the build. So Dark Seal is very important, first off. And then next, you're going to rush into what's it called? Nashers. You want to buy the Blasting Wand component first, after that Recurve Bow, and then Fiendish Codex. You can switch between Fiendish and Recurve if you want, but Blasting Wand first is a must. This item is super hard to get on one back, which is why you usually do it after your second back, because that's when you have like the most gold. You can't, and Fiendish also got nerfed, so that's why it's not a very good component anymore, which is why you go Recurve Bow. Attack speed's also very good for clear and dueling. So you'll go Nashers after Dark Seal, and then you'll finish your boots. You can go Sork Boots if you want that like insane power spike with Nashers, but I've been enjoying like Played Steel Caps and Merc Treads because it just allows you to curve into your other items a lot better. Sork Boots are very, very, very strong power spike with Nashers, because Nashers already is a strong power spike. You go Sork Boots, it's even stronger. But it doesn't curve as good mid-late game as these two boots. So you can go Sorks if you want to that playstyle of like a little bit extra damage. You can. I used to actually go Sork Boots, perma, like every game. But then I realized I like these better. So then you're going to go your boots afterwards. And then next you're going to go either Knight's Vow or Abyssal. These items are extremely cheap. You get them super early in the game. And they allow you to spike way faster than anyone else. Okay, so based on which one you're going to go next is based on the enemy team comp. Who is the most fed? Like, do you need armor or do you need MR? It's also best to probably go Kindle Gem before the defense component, because HP is just a useful stat no matter who you're facing. I will say though, if like a team is like full AD or like mostly AD, then you should probably, get the armor component before Kindle Gem, because the armor will just be more valuable than the Kindle Gem. But usually people have split damage, so Kindle Gem probably is more valuable. So yeah, you'll go Knight's Vow or Abyssal, depending on enemy comp, and then you're going to go the other one. Of course, if a team has literally like 0 AP or the AP threat is like negligible, then you can just go, Knight's Vow into another armor item like Thornmail or Unending Despair or something. You don't have to go Abyssal, but usually most games, again, people have split damage. So you go Knight's Vow and Abyssal, and then depending on what you buy first, you go the next one next. So now you have one item slot left, and that's going to be Riftmaker. This item is such a good item as a last item for this build. It gives you every single stat you want. It gives you AP. Let me actually buy an elixir because this scales after HP. Okay, so this gives you AP, 80 AP, 350 health, 15 ability haste. Like, it's insane what it gives. And then it also gives you 10% bonus damage, 10% Omnivamp, and then 32 bonus AP based on your health. So this item actually gives almost as much AP as like a Zhonya's or something, while also giving you the passive, which is insanely good for this build, because your duels are going to be extended because you're tank. And it gives you 350 health, which is more than most tank items. Most tank items give you 300 health. It's crazy the amount of health this gives you. And then 15 ability haste, which is always good on Diana, because the more ability haste you have, more W's get out, which right here, like, our shield's like 800 health. And if you go like Spear Visage, or I mean, you're not going Spear Visage with this build, but if you go like Revitalize, which sometimes I do if I have an Enchanter, it gets like extremely big. But 800 health shield on a 6-second cooldown. And your Q is a 3.8-second cooldown. So you're just spamming your dashes. Your dash is basically up every 3.8 seconds. Ability haste is so good. So if you just look at the stats with this full build, this build is, I think, 13,000 gold, I believe. Let me just do the math real quick, actually. So besides Rabadons, I'm not counting Rabadons because this is supposed to be, you know, Medjai's. So Medjai's 1,500, and then boots 800 because you get the free boots. So 23, okay, plus 3,000, 5,300, 2,200, 7,500, 79, 99. Yeah, it's 13,000. Okay, 13,000 gold. You can get that pretty easily even if you're not Giga fed. Like, that's another thing about this build, is that even if you're not fed, you're pretty much able to get these items. Like, you don't have to be fed. The problem with the other builds, like Jack Show and stuff, you pretty much had to be ahead of people to get these items. You know, Jack Show's super expensive, it's 3,200. All these other items, like with Tank Dine that I was doing. These items are so cheap, you get them pretty much every single game. And at full build, you think you would be weak because these items are cheap. But, like, since defensive stats are deflationary, and you also get HP from these and haste, which is what you want, it's just every stat you want. It's insanely good. And since defenses are deflationary, just one of each is actually enough for you to be actually very tanky. 63% damage reduction and 56 damage reduction. And the thing is, once you get to full build, buying more tank items doesn't really make you that much tankier, because one, they're deflationary, and two, if someone buys LDR, you're going to get shredded pretty much anyways. Like, the extra armor isn't really making a difference. So just buying these cheap items and going into Riftmaker just synergizes so much better overall. But if you look at these stats are crazy. You have the AP of someone that's... You don't have the exact... You know, obviously people that are going full AP are going to be like 800. But your AP is very high. And considering your cooldowns are super low, you do so much damage over time with how many rotations you get off. So you have 460 AP. It was 460. Sorry, it went off because of my elixir. 460 AP. It's 350 if you have, you know, Medjai's, which is cheaper, which is still really good. 4,100 health. This was 4,000. Let me just buy an elixir. Sorry, I shouldn't have to speak theoretically. Okay. 4,100 health. That is so much health for people to cut through, along with the 170 armor and 130 MR. And the thing about this is, with Abyssal, the more people are in a fight, the more MR you get. So if you're in a team fight, you get 9 times 5. So you get 45 more MR. This item's giving you 105 magic resist in a team fight, which is more than any magic resist item by far. It's like almost double. So you're basically getting these stats of 2 MR items for 1. So you end up getting like 170 MR and 170 armor. Insane. Like, you're literally so tanky. And you have 4,000 health, 462 AP, and you get 10% bonus damage from this and 10% Omnivamp. You'll actually notice when you're in a fight, you actually like can see the healing from how much damage you're doing. So that's the build essentially. But the thing about the Rabadons, let me explain this. So normally you have Medjai's, right? Let's say it's super late in the game and you lost all your stacks, like you died, right, for a dragon or for a baron. You have no stacks. So it's kind of pointless to have the Dark Seal like after like 25 minutes, right? It's too hard to stack. So you sell the Dark Seal for a large rod. If you look at how much AP a large rod gives,
not listen.
look at how much AP a large rod gives. It gives 70, which is actually more than a fully stacked Dark Seal. The problem is it's just 1250 gold, which is why you go Dark Seal early game, because you save money essentially. But when you're full build, this gold doesn't matter, right? Because it's just gonna go to the void. So you sell your Dark Seal for this, and then once you're full build, after you have everything else, you go Rabadons, and this gives you way more AP than Medjai's will.
I speak only truth.
So yeah, that's the build. And if you really want, and it's super late game, you can actually sell your Knight's Vow for like another armor item like Thornmail or something, because this gives, you know, more armor and more HP. But hopefully by the time you're full build, you should be able to like end the game,
Also
theoretically.
rises.
But late game you can sell this, or you can sell your boots for like Jack Show or what else? If you have Medjais, you know, you can sell boots for Rabadons, but that's going to be a lot of gold. Okay, so that's basically the build. So now we're going to talk about, shoot, what was I going to say? Sorry, let me cut, because I forgot what I was going to talk about. Okay, so now that we've talked about the build, I'm going to talk about how you should, like, be playing Tank Diana. It's still pretty similar to AP Diana, you know, you're still this person that can dash on people, hit big ults. That still is a thing. Of course, that's not the only thing you play for, though. When you play Tank Diana, you need to be a lot more patient, and you need to be playing around your Dark Seal stacks. It is very important that you do not just like blow your Dark Seal stacks away, because it is very important to keep your Dark Seal stacks, otherwise you won't really do that much damage throughout the game. Late game, when you have Riftmaker, it's a little bit easier to make up for that, because Riftmaker itself has almost the same AP as a fully stacked Medjais, and it gives you a lot more damage. But you still don't want to just lose your Dark Seal stacks just because you have Riftmaker, because you'd be a lot stronger with those Medjai stacks. Every little AP goes a long way with this build because of how short your cooldowns are, and since you're playing around your rotations and how tanky you are, every little AP goes a long way. The little bit of AP matters more for Tank Diana than it does for AP. With AP, you go in, you do one burst, that little bit of AP is only like the amount of damage for one combo. But when you go Tank Diana, you're comboing maybe 4 or 5 times in a fight. So every AP is like 4 or 5 times that. Because the fight's being super extended. Okay, so what I mean by patient is this. You want to think of your E cooldown as your Q cooldown. I know it seems like you just want to dash, but I'm telling you, this Q cooldown's so low, you can just run at people and wait for it to come back up. In cases where you absolutely need to use your second cooldown, you can. But you'll realize after playing Diana for a while that you become a sitting duck if you have no E cooldown. Like, especially playing this iteration of the build, because most of your damage comes from auto attacks and like spell rotations. So if you have no dash, you have no way of getting on them for your W. You have no way of getting on them for your auto attacks. You can only Q, which doesn't do that much damage because you're not AP. So you absolutely have to be keeping watch of your E cooldown. So what I mean by this, is, let's say you dash on this guy and you're fighting, and then he flashes away. Instead of just dashing, wait for your Q, follow him, and then dash again. You want to just be playing around your Q cooldown, and then just like spamming him with rotate abilities. I'll also put a clip in here of a team fight. Well, I wouldn't say it's the slowest team fight, but it definitely shows that you don't have to like insta ult. Okay, I'll put the clip now, and then I'll come back. Their mid and jungle are dead. Surely we win. Actually, how do we kill Kled without Twitch, to be honest? Oh, I guess I'm just Thanos. That's how. Oh my god. Okay, now I gotta just 1v2 their mid jungle. Can I one-shot this? Okay, I got Infernal. Just get out, please. Oh my god, he's going. I am insane. Is my ship broken? Is Riftmaker broken? Alright, and so about that insta ult thing. A lot of time when you play AP Diana, you want to just dash and insta ult when you jump on someone. You can still do this as AP Diana or Tank Diana if you find a good engage. But a lot of the time, since you're so tanky, you don't have to insta ult. The thing about AP Diana is you have to insta ult before you get blown up. But as Tank Diana, you can survive just autoing and wait for a better opportunity to ult. So you can just fight this guy in the front, and the ADC, you know, or their mid laner or whatever, might think they're just safe because you're fighting this guy. And then that's when you know, use your QE ult on this guy back here. So you just want to play the fights very slow and wait for opportunities. And it's actually kind of crazy how much AP Conquer gives you. It's giving me like upwards of like 50, 60 AP here. It's insane. And that's another reason why you want to play these fights slow, because the amount of damage you get from Conqueror and Riftmaker in these extended fights is insane.
Are
That's the main thing you need to keep in mind, is just using your E as if it's your Q cooldown. Another thing, since you're buying Riftmaker or even Jack Show, if you go the Jack Show iteration, it's the same thing. It's better if you can wait for your Riftmaker to stack before you go in. You don't have to do this, but it's really good. So you can just throw Qs out to stack it and then go in once it's stacked, right? Because then you do a lot more damage with your combo. So you can play like that. And since you're going Nashers, you just want to make sure you're weaving as many autos in as you can. Okay, that's basically all there is to it. You know, you just play patient, weave as many autos as you can, try to stack your Riftmaker first, and make sure you do not lose your Dark Seal stacks.
They would not
Also, do not be afraid. Do not really be afraid to like go for plays as long as it's not completely grief. You're super tanky. You can basically outtrade almost anyone in the game, especially since you have a massive shield. So you can also just like go. You can also just like Q. As long as they have no way of like CCing you and one-shotting you, you can dash in and just like burst them and then run away. Kind of like, you know, mid lane phase rush, except you don't have phase rush. You're just tanky. So yeah, hopefully I'm not forgetting anything about how you should like technically play tank Diana. I hope maybe the clip would have helped. But let's just talk about Diana techniques now. Okay, so there used to be a thing called triple technique or triple dash technique. They did remove that from the game, which is kind of sad. You can still do it in a way if your Q is close enough to you and you dash to something far. This will, not all the time, and that's why it's not good, because it doesn't happen all the time, but this will keep a mark, because the way it's coded, the way they tried to fix the triple dash, now it tries to see anything with moonlight when you're dashing, so it'll remove that moonlight because people were triple dashing because of stuff hit after the mark. But now stuff at the beginning of your mark is staying, but it has to be a lot before, because there's like some kind of timer or something on it. I don't know the exact specifics behind it, but if something's close enough at the beginning of your mark, the beginning of your arc, it'll keep a mark. Not all the time, but most of the time. I can't really get it to go right now, but that's why it's not good, because it's not very consistent. So that's something you could do. It happens by accident, and then if you see the moonlight, you can just like dash to them once you realize. I wouldn't recommend this because it's too hard to reproduce, right? I got a triple dash there. But it's not something you want to look to do. If it happens in a game, you can utilize it, but it's not something I would look to do. You also stack Conqueror very fast on Diana. Using your QEW, you stack it. So you actually do surprising damage afterwards. And what you can do actually is, since your W procs multiple times, if you can somehow stack Conqueror before you're using your W, you do a lot more damage with your W if you can wait, or wait to ult until your Conqueror is stacked. It is hard to do this. I don't even really do this because, you know, it feels a lot better just to like insta use your W or insta ult. But if you can train yourself to like wait on abilities till your Conqueror is stacked, you will do extremely more damage, or sorry, a lot more damage. Honestly, there's not really many Diana mechanics since they removed everything, but you can our flash, right? If you want a faster way for them to not be able to react. Okay, there's not many mechanics, but there's things you can do. There's not many like technical mechanics, but there's things you can do to give yourself the edge in something. Like let's say okay, let's say you're diving, right? And you can't tank the turret that much, right? Because it's early game. Usually you'll have a wave here, so you dive them, you're fighting, you kill them, you can dash out to the minion instead of walking out, because it's a lot faster. I do this all the time. You can use minions to like dash out, alright? Or let's say you're running away from someone in the jungle, right? You just dash the wave and then you're out. It's pretty simple, but a lot of people don't think of, you know, using the wave to get away. If you can get away with it, it's better to QE, just so you have your E reset in case something happens. So if you can QE, it's good, but sometimes you need to just insta E when you're running away, so you don't, you know, get caught while you're queuing. Okay, And for ganks, let's say you're ganking mid
They
lane.
would not listen.
Stand behind this wall. They can't see you, right? They can't see you here. You can Q the wave, dash to the wave, and then dash to them. Let me spawn another dummy so I can do it. Like, they could be sitting here and thinking they're safe, right? You would think here. You'd think... Let me drop a ward. You would think here, right? If you're the enemy laner, you're super safe. That's the nice thing about Diana ganks. You can go extremely far, way farther than people think. So you just dash to this, dash to them, and they would get completely caught off guard. Another thing you can do is if they're even farther back, like let's say they're here, right? They would think there's no way for you to touch them. And this is a minion wave, right? Because a minion wave, there's caster, or, what are they called? Melee minions and casters, okay? Right? You think he's super, like, way back here. He has even this warded, right? There's no way for him to be ganked, right? He thinks there's no way for him to be ganked, okay? You dash to this, you dash to this, and then you ult off the minion wave, and then they get grabbed. I've had some insanely far grabs doing this. If I can find it, I'll put a clip in just so you can see how insanely far you can dash on someone. I wouldn't recommend like flash queuing onto someone because most of the time they're just gonna flash your Q and it's gonna look dumb. If you think it's worth turning flash, sir. But the chances of you like flash QEing onto someone, it's very hard. Like people are just gonna react to it. And if you miss your Q and dash, you probably will just get turned on and die. Because if you don't have an E reset, you're probably just gonna die. So I wouldn't recommend that. If you're playing in lower ranks, you can limit test into it. And again, if you're gonna go in, you almost always want to QER. You can just ER if you see a really good engage, but then, especially since you're playing tank Diana, it makes the rest of the fight really hard. But if you see a really good engage where you guarantee your team can like kill if you hit a nice ult, go for it. Okay. Okay, so something else you can do with Diana. Your Q gives vision, so you can use it to like dash over to camps, especially for running, or just to get to your camps faster. Like, you can just dash the Raptors here, you know, farm your camps. Dash the red buff here, goes pretty far. Dash to Krugs. You can just use these for farming faster or for getting away. There's so many instances where you can like get away. Like you can use Scuttle Crab to get away, you know. Let's say you're running away this way. Use blue buff to get away. Right? You can also just run away this way and then dash back, right? If you want to juke them again. Like you can go back and forth. Keep juking people.
Dusk approaches.
You can just basically use any camp you want as long as it's up to get away. A really good one is actually Wolves. Because a lot of the time, or Raptors. A lot of the time, if this mid turret's dead, like let's say you're getting collapsed on mid, right, from top side. You can just run down to where Wolves or Raptors and just jump over the wall like that. And it's really, I use that escape so much. So yeah, using those for escapes. Your Q also, since your Q also gives vision, if someone's gonna flash over a wall, you can, I mean, obviously Q them after they flash, or you can Q them before they flash, and then when they flash, you maintain vision. So let's say he was here. Let's say he was here, and then he flashed over here. If you Q him here before he flashes, and then he flashes, you'll keep vision of him, so you can follow after, and then you'll still have a reset because the moonlight stays. So if you see someone's about to flash, and you can keep your moonlight on them, instead of dashing before they flash, right? Wait for them to flash, and then go over when you're before your moonlight runs out, because you'll keep vision of them when they flash over, or dash like Talon over a wall or something.
They would not listen.
So yeah, I do that a lot when I play against Graves. You know, you see them walking up to the walls. You see them like walking up to a wall like here. So before they get to the wall, you're gonna Q him here, and then when he dashes over, then you're just gonna, you know, I flashed because I don't have a dummy, but you're just gonna dash to him there when he goes over. That's a really good thing you could do to like basically make people waste flash. And people a lot of time when they're playing against Diana don't actually realize that you're just gonna follow them if they, you know, go over the wall with moonlight. What else is there? Anything I'm forgetting? Let's just talk about more gank opportunities. So when you're ganking bot, lane ganking on Diana is so OP, because if this isn't warded, they are lethal from so far away. Like again, they could be way over here. They could be way over here, and you can kill them from here. Or they could be even, you know, back here, way back here. You can kill them from here. Because again, you just dash to this, mini wave, and then you dash to them, and they're dead. Actually, they can be probably even farther back because of what I said before about the ulting on the wave. So you could dash here, dash here, and then ult them, right? Like, they were literally here, and you were here, and you killed. Like, it's insane. Actually, if I found the clip, that's the exact thing I did, you know, when I ganked the bot lane. So, if I find it, you know what I'm talking about. The range you can make up. Okay. Oh, I forgot actually very important ones. So, like, let's say there's no blast cone here, and you need to go for dragon. You can walk here, do this, dash straight. You can use this for escaping, or just, you know, securing objectives, or stealing them. And whenever you're securing objectives, you want to try to time your smite. You want to try to time your smite with your passive, because look how much damage this does. Like 1300 or 2300 damage. It's crazy. It's really hard to outsmite that. So that's why you want to try to time your passive with your smite. So yeah, there's also another wall you can do this from, but it's way harder. And I actually forgot where it's at. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot where you stand because it's been way too long. I don't think you can do it on the new map because it is a little bit wider. But you can do it on Baron. So if you want to dash to Baron, you just Q Baron and then dash from here. It's a little crevice here. It's pretty forgiving. Like there's a lot you can stand to like dash over. And yeah, you can still Baron that way. If this is gone and you have no flash, you can stand here, dash over, steal it. Or you can just use, you know, dash to people when they're fighting Baron and ult them, because a lot of the time you can just kill them because they're tanking Baron. So that's another thing. Anything else about Diana? I guess it's worth noting your ult does more damage the more people you pull in. So obviously if you hit a 5-man ult, do a lot more damage. It also slows when you pull them in, so you can, you know, run people down. I guess I'll say another thing about being patient with Diana. You want to be patient with your ult. Because, like, let's say, you know, you're dashing on someone, and you know that they can't insta-pop you, right? Or it's going to be like an extended duel. You don't need to always QER. You don't need to. Because, again, you can follow with your Q when it comes back up. Or you can QE, and then as they're running away, like, let's say they're running away from you because they're just faster than you. You can ult them when they're max range. So you pull them back farther. If you just insta-ult them, they might, like, flash out or something. Or just run away. So if you wait for them to get some distance from you, obviously you don't want to purposely give them distance, but if they somehow get distance from you, then you can ult them, you know, as they're running, so you get more time to chase them down. And it also gives you time for your Q cooldown to come back up. So Diana's kind of just a champion that you just want to be really patient on if you want to make her work well. Any other hidden tech? Oh, I will say, okay, I mean, I can't do this here because I would have to kill all the turrets, but if you're hitting inhib, your passive won't work on inhib unless if you're literally standing like right next to it. If you're standing at you know, regular attack range, if you just click inhib and walk to it, like let's say I'm standing here, right? I just click inhib, or sorry, yeah, inhib. It will not proc passive. You have to literally walk directly up to the inhib and then click it if you want to proc your passive, so it just makes the damage way more.
I cannot turn back.
Is that all of the tech? I think. I'm pretty sure there's something I'm forgetting, and I'm just not remembering. I guess something worth noting is using your Q as face checking. So instead of just running into this bush, if you think someone might be there, you can just Q it. Gives vision. It's really good for like red bush. A lot of time people like to camp this. So you just Q the bush, you get vision. Or Raptor's bush, right? If you're walking from mid, you can just Q this bush, right? You get vision of that, you know no one's there.
I speak only truth.
What else? Anything else? Any other tech? Q tech, W tech, E tech. Okay, I think that's all the tech. But let me just talk about Diana power spikes. So Nashor's is an insane power spike. You want to try to play around this power spike as best you can to basically get all your Dark Seal stacks and get your other items. It's insanely strong, or it's insane the amount of power spike you get from this item. So obviously you gotta know your limits, but just make sure you're actually utilizing this item when you get it. It's insanely strong. You're basically able to 1v1 almost anyone in the game when you get this item, as long as they're not, you know, 3 levels up on you or something. But so yeah, you want to play off your Nashor power spike. Level 4, you're actually a lot stronger than people might think you are, especially when you do the 3 camp reset for Dark Seal, because you have that item advantage. The reason this tech works is because you can actually full clear after resetting. You know, you do Raptors, Red Krugs, reset, get Dark Seal into your top camp. So you actually clear before Scuttle spawns. Um, so that's why it's actually viable. If you couldn't clear before Scuttle, there'd be no point. I will say I don't do this against champs like Karthus, because if you do this against Karthus, he's just going to invade you on Gromp, and he'll be level 4, you'll be level 3, so there's no point in it. Or like lanes where I think it's actually ungankable in every lane and I can't invade the enemy jungle because they'll have shove. Then I will probably just do like a level 5 clear. I'll post all these clears. I'll try to remember to paste the link to all these clears in the description so you know what I'm talking about. But your level 4 spike's really good, especially with Dark Seal. So you want to fight Scuttlecrab because that's why you're buying the Dark Seal. For Scuttlecrab fight. If he doesn't fight you, it's fine. You just go Raptors, Krugs, and then you reset, get your Blasting Wand. So that's another reason this clear is good. On your second back after Krugs, you'll be almost level 5, and you'll have Blasting Wand already. Blasting Wand and Dark Seal, you'll be very strong. So level 4 Power Spike. Level 9, or obviously level 6, you know, you get your ult. Very strong. You want to, if you get level 6 before the enemy, you want to try to force objectives. And that's the other thing. When you get Blasting Wand for Krugs, you can actually force Grubs or Dragon as long as you're not down numbers. Because when you have Dark Seal Blasting Wand, you're very strong. You can kind of just like literally solo Dragon very quickly. So 4, 6, 9 is, you know, everyone's Power Spike. Very strong Power Spike. Your Q cooldown is very low. Obviously 11 for the level 2 ult. That's basically it. Those are your Power Spikes. Also, you know, obviously items when you get Knight's Vow, Abyssal, when you stack your Dark Seal, stuff like this. Okay, I think that's about everything for Diana. Oh, I forgot to talk about runes. Oh, that's so bad. Just standard runes, you know, Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace, and then Magical Footwear, and Cosmic Insight. You can actually do a different build that I've tried. It's pretty good. But only do this if you have an enchanter, and also it's probably better if the enchanters duo with you, because a random solo queue enchanter might not, you know you're going this build and might not shield you. But you go conditioning and then revitalize, and the revitalize synergizes with your W and Triumph and like Riftmaker and stuff. Or actually, it doesn't work with Riftmaker, but it works with your W, Triumph, Conqueror as well. I think Conqueror. I'm not sure on that, but yeah, it works with all that healing. And then also, of course, if the enchanter shields you, it'll be bigger. But then if you go this revitalized build, instead of Abyssal, you usually want to go Spirit Visage. But another thing about that build is you probably only want to do it if the enemy has like actually heavy AP, like 3 AP, or like 2 strong AP champs. Because when you go this build, you want to go Spirit before Knight's Vow, so you actually get use out of your Spirit Visage earlier in the game. Because if you go at like 4th or 5th, it's not really worth going Revitalize Rune at that point if you go it too late in the game. And your shields will actually be massive if you go Revitalize Spirit Visage. So it's a build you can do if you're duo with an enchanter, like especially Yuumi. It's so good with Yuumi. But honestly, any enchanter works with it. You could also do it in solo queue. I've done it in solo queue. I literally just tell my support, I'm like, hey, I'm running Spirit Visage Revitalize. If you shield me, we win the game. I literally tell them that. So you can do that if you want to. That's a different build. I still go Nice Vow with it, so it's pretty similar. You just switch Abyssal for Spirit. I tried going Unending Despair over Nice Vow for it, but honestly at that point it's just excessive healing. Like, and also Unending Despair kind of just sucks, not gonna lie. I think that's about it. Let me just think if there's anything I'm forgetting about. Any Diana tech, specifically tank. Well, I'm sure this has been long enough. If anyone has questions, just just respond, I guess. DM me or reply in the comments. I'll try to get back to everyone if you have any questions. So if I forgot anything, I might just add it here randomly afterwards. So otherwise, yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. Maybe I'll do some more of these that are more concentrated on a specific topic, because I kind of did everything here, not just like a 5-minute game. Oh my god, that means that my video is going to be super... Okay, anyways. I'm sorry I don't have any editing. It was just rambling, but I hope this was informative for anyone that's looking to play Diana. I have, lots of games on Diana. I've hit Grandmaster on Diana, so I think I know what I'm talking about for her, but any questions, just let me know.